Hi, this is Alan with frontendaudio.com. Today we're here with the Blackline Audio MicroClock Mark II. The MicroClock Mark II is a master word clock generator. True to the Blackline Audio's project series, it's a very utilitarian style box, not a whole lot of big bells and whistles, but basically let's get into the meat of it. So essentially what's happening with this is you have your root frequency selector switch here, 44.1K and then 48K in the up position. So 44.1 is like your CD standard, and then 48K is kind of more of the DAT standard, a little bit more high frequency content to it. Over here then, essentially you have the ×1, so then that's 44.1 and 48K. Put it to ×2, you have 88.2 and then 96K. And then move it to ×3 and you have 176.4K and then 192. So basically, that's the real nuts and bolts of it. That's all this thing does is it spits out a square wave at whatever frequency you want it to. How would you use this? Well, essentially it's a master word clock generator. So this is designed to help synchronize all the different pieces of digital equipment in your chain. Not everything has BNC connections, so you need to pay attention to what you have in your particular setup. But for folks who have, let's say, a 003 or a Digimax, or actually, let's go to the high end, even stuff like high-end converters and so forth. The MicroClock 2 is proving itself to be pretty much a heavyweight in terms of sound quality that you're getting out of your converters. I'll kind of prove what I mean here. Essentially, a digital system is really about only as strong as its actual word clock center, which kind of controls everything. It tells the whole system what a sample is. And so basically the accuracy of the square wave that it is putting out is critical. And so this box really does a good job of that. There are a lot of really good converters out there that have really good master word clocks inside them. There are a lot of other really good master word clocks that have lots of really good features on them. The Apogee Big Ben, for instance, has tons of features that this box just doesn't have. However, what I've noticed whenever I've connected this up to a unit, let's say with a not so good clock overall. I'm not going to start naming names of gear, but let's just say what I experienced was that this box enabled those pieces of digital equipment to work at their best possible abilities, which doesn't mean that they're going to suddenly outperform a Lynx converter or an SSL Alpha Link or something like that, or Lavery or anything of that nature. But it's just basically, like I said, it's going to allow it to work to the best of its ability. So what I've noticed with this in doing a few tests with basically running a section of audio out of some converters through cables, back in through some other cables. So what I noticed when I was just doing some tests with a section of audio, take that out of some D to A converters, the outputs on your interface, back in through some inputs on the interface with a pair of cables, and assigning those inputs now to new stereo tracks. And essentially, so what's happening is that piece of audio is now being recorded to these new tracks. And so what I was able to do is to basically do that same audio on a couple of different stereo tracks, clocking from different sources. What I was finding was that the performance of the MicroClock rivaled anything that was any clock that was available that was really high quality. There was no jitter. Basically, all the files that I would record would cancel out, meaning that if I inverted the polarity on one set of tracks against another, then basically there was nothing. What I was finding whenever I was using the standard clock, the onboard clock for the interface or another pair of converters or something of that nature, was that there was an audible difference. And the audible difference basically was different frequency content that those converters were not able to reproduce with their own clocks. The resulting sound that I was getting through the same converters with the MicroClock controlling them was more full, more open, more attack, more well-defined. I have in the past made the comparison to being kind of like this, with a really good, well, with a bad sounding clock. Essentially what is happening in your digital system is it sounds like the audio is kind of porous, smashed between a couple pieces of glass, and contained within a particular area. It's hard to get a sense of depth. It's hard to get a real specific sense of placement. It's hard to make decisions in terms of frequency and EQ changes. You struggle a lot to make very basic decisions. With a good clock and good converters and so forth, but more primarily with a good clock, the glass essentially is shattered. The audio can now breathe front to back and more to the sides and top to bottom. So things become more dimensional. You hear things in a proper place. So panning of elements becomes a lot easier. You are now getting, you're not having to EQ quite as much to get the full sound of the microphone and the preamplifier into the system. So your recordings are going to be better as a result. But primarily the entire digital system that is clocking off of this will sound better. So that is, in a nutshell, reason enough to consider adding something like this to an existing system. And the MicroClock 2 is the perfect little pill to cure your ills, as it were. So basically, it's been a great, very reliable little box for me. I recommend it to lots of people, and they love it. So for more information on this, and for all your pro audio needs, check us out online at frontendaudio.com. Thanks.